Hi everyone, this is Sandy Reese with Stampacrew.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Thanks for joining me today for another video tutorial. We are going to do a fun fall card using the Amber Autumn bundle. This is in the annual catalog. And we're going to do some blending with our blending brushes and create a beautiful, beautiful card. Before we get started, I want to remind you to click subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, and any orders placed with me of $50 or more this month will receive a kit of our November card class projects, and we'll be doing those next Thursday, so keep an eye out because that is coming up. Okay, so let's get started. We're using sentiments from the stamp set, and then we're going to use this big leaf die. So we'll be getting to that in a minute. So we're going to start out with a card base of Blackberry Bliss. Let's give that a crease. And then I have a layer of Blackberry Bliss that is embossed with the Birchwood embossing folder, if you can see that. The texture on that, just to add a little bit of interest to the background. We're going to layer that right on top. And of course, measurements and supplies will be on the blog post. Now I have two pieces of white. I have this one is 4 by 5 1/4. This one is slightly smaller, and this is going to go on the inside. This one is made out of the thick, this is regular white cardstock, which will go on the inside. This is the thick white. And I did this a little bit bigger, and I use this for the front, so you'll see in a few minutes why we're doing that. So let's go ahead and stamp our words. I'm going to use Blessed to Have You in My Life. That's for the inside of the card. So let's just stamp that right there. And then for the front, we're going to do Autumn Wishes on a strip of basic white. And that is going to be kind of on the left. Okay, so we're going to set those aside, and we're going to take our larger white cardstock, and we're going to grab some blending brushes. And I'm starting with Blackberry Bliss, and these don't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of doing a little bit here. And we're just going to cover this whole piece of cardstock. So we're going to go with Cajun Craze next. And it's just the kind of goal is getting those pretty fall colors. And if it's not real even, that is okay. All right, we're going to add some pumpkin pie next. It's a little brighter. A little bit there. And then our last color is going to be Crushed Curry. And I like to put a little label on my blending brushes when we're getting ready to do this, because I don't like to have it kind of cross-pollinated or mixed up in the colors. Then if you want to, I like to take the Crushed Curry and maybe just do a little extra coloring in the middle. Okay, that's it. What's great about this technique is that every card is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to make sure, I see we got a little piece stuck in there. Make sure that your die is clean before you run this through. And mine has a little bit of wax paper in it, but that's okay. Just want to make sure all the cardstock is out of it. Okay, now we're going to lay this right here in the center. Okay, we're going to grab die cutting machine. sorry about the shaking. Okay, and then I like to turn it the other direction and go one more time. A little different angle. Let's see. It looks like it's cut pretty well. Let's move this out of the way. Okay. At this point, we can use our brush tool to clean this out, but I think I can do it fairly quickly with my piercer or my pick tool. And the goal is just to get all these little pieces out. Okay. Now the reason I do my coloring first and then do this is that if you die cut it first and then you do the coloring, some of these are pretty thin little leaves and you don't want to get them all, you know, smashed up by doing a lot of blending. So they tend to stay a lot nicer if you color first and then die cut. Okay. The trickiest part is just making sure you have all the pieces out of there. Okay, one more here. And I think that's all of them. Okay. So we're going to adhere this to the front of our card. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue. Let's see, get this going here. And just put a thin layer all the way around. And then I kind of do a little spots of glue on some of our thicker areas. Some of the thicker leaves there. Okay, let's see how that goes. And this is just slightly bigger than our embossed cardstock, so you're not going to see the edge of that. Isn't that beautiful? I'll show you my sample here. This is my original. I've got more yellow in this one, so each time you do it, it's going to look just a little bit different. Okay, so we're going to, let's just go ahead and adhere our inside sentiment. And here and I cut this one actually a little smaller than I normally do, so I make sure that I didn't mistake it for the wrong one. And we're going to cut this at an angle. And I'm going to line this up and use that as a guide and cut it at the same angle. A little adhesive there. And then I'm just making that a little bit lower. So we just have kind of that little fun line right there. We could also, I think on my sample, I made, if I can peel that off, and let a little of the gold on the front too. All right, let's grab a couple dimensionals. I think we'll cut this off right at the edge of the gold. Okay. I'm struggling. This is not even. That's making me crazy. Okay, there we go. That's a little more even now. All right, now I have already pre-cut a couple of these leaves. It's from the same die set. I'm just putting, you don't want too much glue on any type of foil because it's just going to look messy. So we're just going to put a little glue there, glue that down, and same thing on this one. And I want it to look like it's falling, so I'm going to put it kind of coming down in that direction. And then we have our loose gold sequins, which I love. So we used a lot of these this month. And whoop, that's a lot of glue right there. I'm just gonna put a few sequins here, just wherever you want to put them. There's a bazillion sequins in here, so it's okay. But I do have too much glue. Let me grab a piece of my scrap paper and get rid of that. And we'll put a big sequin right there. Okay. Another one right there. Put a small one. And I like to put these kind of cup shaped with the rounded side on the bottom. I've got one more little bit of glue right there. If that's enough. Okay, and that, we're going to collect those in just a second. Here, let's just get them now so we don't lose them. And that is it. Isn't that pretty? Look how sparkly that is. I don't know if you can tell. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's project. I'll have measurements and supplies. Well, I have lost a sequin. I don't know where that goes. Measurements and supplies on my blog. And please check back on Thursday. We'll be doing our card class projects. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. All right, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.